I should have expected this. Lots of phony statements slipped under my door. I had to sort through the rotten lots of fakes, pranksters and buffoons with bad handwriting. There were some genuine responses, so I guess I can't complain about the seriousness of some of these people, but they just don't hit the same. And I found out why. Like I mentioned in my first tape, I could type them out, even with various text document types, and save them, and the documents would be completely fine. Same with any other digital recording. So that has been a thorough waste of my time. But out of this rotten lot I sifted through, one has surfaced. A letter sent to the founder's post office, with my name and room number. I recorded a bit of it, and all that came out was white static, documents corrupted. So this is the one. The following account was given by J Token regarding a tunnel found under the campus in September 2024. Hello, Jack. I saw one of your tapes nestled away in the forest, on the hill up to Founders. I was so glad that anyone, experienced paranormal phenomena the same way I did. No one else believes me, and my friends and family think I'm insane. So thank you for letting me air out my story. I had a tape player on hand, so I could hear your own account. I agree that analog is just better. Cameras, tapes, it just looks and sounds superior. And it means that paranormal anomalies, like what the two of us experienced, can be captured and recorded. Your area seems to be in sound and recording, but mine is photography. Capturing photos on film is simply cooler than doing it digitally. The imperfections, the experimentation with film, the different types, it's a whole other world. I don't study it here, rather photography is my hobby, that me and a few friends share. We decided to tour Founders one afternoon in my first year, and we happened to stumble across a level below. Mostly just pipe work and some passages to other areas, and it certainly hadn't been used in ages. A group of us, 5 in total, ventured down. They were more the adventurous type, but I decided it could be a nice photo op. The tunnels diverged, and the system underneath was huge, unlike anything I would have ever expected. They changed as we went further inwards, having less structure and becoming more rocky. Then I realized I'd heard about these tunnels, pathways built by Thomas Holloway, leading to the Holloway Penitentiary. The tunnels ran so deep we lost signal, and the pathways forked more and more. I split off for one moment to take a picture. Then I saw 2 yellow eyes peek out from a shadow against a wall. They were small, and at about my knee's height. And what came out of it was a cat. A small little black cat. What on earth was it doing there? Before I had time to think, it scurried off, and I followed further and further. And when I looked back, I could no longer hear my friends, nor could I see any sign of them. I yelled and yelled, but to no avail, thinking it was some silly prank. I looked at where the cat had led me, and I could see a slither of light illuminating some pipework. I thought that black cat had been my saving grace, and the little critter finally led me out. Soon the brick walls returned, and eventually I reached the exit. It was at that point I realized it was true that black cats were bad luck. It was night, late night, way past the evening. My first thought was that I had been stuck there for hours and hours, but when I went out, there was this strange atmosphere. Before I go on, I should say that I believe every human has a 6th sense, a natural instinct to be able to feel life, the presence of another human being or the animals and even bugs around you, and when that changes suddenly, when this feeling is tampered with, everything all at once feels off. It was fresh as week, my first year, and there was not a single drunk hooligan or a security guard in sight, and that damned cat was gone. I entered the campus once again, and everything was barren. There was no life here, not a single thing besides plant life. I walked around and took some photos with my camera, past the library, even into Bedford. What was strange was that all the lights were on, and even the clocks were working. It was as if everyone from the entire campus had suddenly vanished into nothingness, like smoke on the wind. The time was about 12:30 as I exited Bedford. Everywhere was silent and cold. Not a single shred of human life cropped up. It was then I checked the grounds in the forest for any bugs, and again there was nothing. My film ran out, so I decided to check my phone, only to find something strange. The date was the 5th of April, 2028. It made sense now. The reduction of the forest on the hill, the emptiness of medicine, the overall strange vibe here. I had somehow skipped 4 and a bit years into the future, but a future that was completely desolate. There was no service. I decided I would try and take some photos with my phone, but the images came out as a grainy black mess. I edited them, turning the brightness up, sharpening details, but absolutely nothing worked. I could no longer take evidence of what I found there. In the end, weeks passed, and the days never brightened. I survived off what I could from the SU shop. Then eventually I broke into one of the security posts and cleaning rooms to access the MasterCards for each building. I entered rooms freely and fed on the scraps left behind in fridges while peeking into these people's lives. Eventually there was scarce food I could find, as it all began to rot away. I wanted to go outside the campus and explore, but at every exit, at every point I could try and get out, I was met with a black wall. Looking up, I could see this wall made a circular perimeter around the campus. When I tried to find its source at the center, there was nothing. I tried time and time again to return through the tunnels, but to no avail, and with no one around, well, mania fell upon me. It is as you said, we're social creatures by nature. I wondered for those weeks, why? Why me? And who or what is keeping me here? I should have used that film more sparingly, because after a few weeks the sky changed, like it ripped open, a massive rupture in reality, with its center fixed on the campus. For the first few days it grew, until I saw long tendrils emerge, with fingers made of what seemed like pitch black. The red light from the rupture seemed to vanish in the fingers' wake, and in that ripped sky I saw unspeakable, unimaginable forms waiting to come out after the dark hand. What I can only describe as Salvador Dali's clocks spilled out of the edge of the rupture, dripping down onto the library. A face with all its features in the wrong place looked down upon me, its eye next to its mouth, next to its ear, next to its other eye. And finally, a great fire swirled and radiated down towards the ground. After that, I ran like hell back into Founders and hid within its corridors. But then through one corridor on the second floor I saw a room with the door broken down. Room 277. Your room. I went inside and saw 4 chairs lined against a round table nestled within the circular section of the room. On the desk were film spools, the exact brand I use, and a bunch of tapes scattered around. I hid for some time and could not bear to look up at the rupture. I wished for some sort of presence, something to keep me company, and the world had answered back in its own cruel way. I was emaciated, shivering and clutching onto the dying heat of the radiators, trying to ignore the sky, but to no avail. It was as if each time I looked at it, it looked back, seeping into my dreams and thoughts. I thought much about my life outside. Were my accomplishments enough? How much of my life did I regret? How long before I die in this foul place? My phone had died some time ago, and the electricity had long since run out. I do not know how many days passed in that accursed place, as I felt the sky tearing to its absolute limit, and saw its harsh red light peek through the curtains. I heard a meow. It was that black cat again, looking up at me with its beady yellow eyes. It turned its body towards the door, so naturally, I followed. As we went outside, I could see the totality of it all, spilling out and looming over the red brick walls. I averted my gaze and continued onwards. The cat led me back into the courtyard and into the other side of the building, where the original passage was. This cat seemed to have an innate knowledge of the way the passages forked and twisted, never faltering for one moment. Then I could hear voices, It had been so long since I heard anything human. I'd stay silent throughout the whole ordeal, kind of like when you live alone and don't say anything for some time. The voices came from my friends and one security guard. I peeked around and saw his lanky figure, emboldened by his high-vis jacket. He was tattered up, even to his face, though I couldn't remember exactly what the designs were. It didn't matter to me at the time, I was almost shocked to death. The cat was gone, of course, and I half listened to the reprimanding the security guard gave us. He let us off lightly, just a few kids wanting to explore, but he said next time it happens, we wouldn't be so lucky. I don't want there to be a next time. I don't talk to those friends anymore. They don't believe my story, and what's worse is that I came out in the same form I came in. The only thing that changed about me were two things on my person: my camera and film spool, the latter I'd put into my pocket. Again I asked myself, why? For a time I believed I wanted to put this behind me. But now I know I was shown this for a reason, to write to you. The room was the main reason. I know now that you're not just another bystander, you're involved. I don't know what's going on, and if this didn't happen so long ago, I would have been suspicious of you. I'm at home in Oxford right now. Included below is my number. I'd be happy to talk and even meet up. You know as well as I do that this was no dream. I've given you the photos from my time in this version of the university and the underground tunnels. I hope we talk soon. That's where the account ends. Time-traveling tunnels and strange cats. The obscurity of the tunnel's location is a concern. I assume it's so I don't go into it, but nevertheless, I'd quite like to know. Wouldn't want to stumble into it. I do believe this statement, but I'm not sure how much of it. After all, the mind is a fickle thing, and under so much stress and pressure, who knows what is real and what isn't. Yes, there are photos included, although they seem to be very normal. Nothing distinctly supernatural about them. But that security guard, I don't think I've seen him on campus, but I'll keep an eye out when I go for class next. I only have the 2 chairs around my table, not the 4 mentioned in the accounts. No film with me. If this is actually the future, I wonder why this was shown to someone last year. Better yet, I need to record what this person wants to say to me, when or if we meet up in person. For once, I'm quite excited to share this with someone. Recording ends.